Hi everyone, this is Melissa from Melissa Made, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a card I made using the July paper door kit called Beaucoup Bouquet. And I'm starting with a piece of paper that I cut that actually comes in the kit. You get an 8.5 by 11 white piece of cardstock that's nice and thick. And I decided instead of going outside to use my normal paper, I would use this for some blending. And I'm using the distress ink that comes in the kit called Mustard Seed. And I'm taking a small dauber that I have in my stash and just swirling it around on the paper. And then I'm also going to be using the Mermaid Lagoon that comes in the kit with a small dauber and smearing that. And I'm smearing them together, and where they're blending, you get this nice pretty green color that also looks great on this card. I'm not concerned with the big blobs that I'm getting from my dauber on the paper. I don't really care. And you're going to see that what happens over time is that ink kind of blends out into the paper, and when I stamp over it, you're barely even going to notice those smudges. So I know if you don't like those, you can start swirling off of your paper and then onto your paper, but honestly with distress inks, I have a hard time blending them unless I'm using a certain kind of paper. So, I don't care about those. Now I'm going to take my VersaFine Clair, which is an amazing ink that Whimsy Stamps has, and I'm stamping the flowers that come in the stamp kit, in the paper door kit, right onto the paper, right over that distress ink. And you can see the black, and this color is called Nocturne, but you can see the black Nocturne color of the VersaFine Clair is really bold against the beautiful colors that you make and you blend in the background. So once I get those stamped, I'm going to choose a few other stamps from the set, some leaves, and then another little flower, and I'm simply just going to stamp those all over the card, trying to make something that's visually appealing in terms of the spacing of those leaves and flowers and the tiny little flower that I use. And I'm just using my acrylic block. You could use a stamping platform like the Misty. However, I don't think it's necessary because this Nocturne ink stamps so clean, and the stamps are such high quality polymer that you don't really need to use your Misty for something as simple as making a background like this. And so adding just one more flower to the side gives me this beautiful background with this bold stamping that I think is really gorgeous. And initially I thought I would die cut some of these things, but I think I'm just going to leave it for a background because it really is beautiful. Now I started out with 4 1/4 by 5.5, and I'm cutting that down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to choose a piece of the sparkly paper that comes in the kit and cut that down to 4.5 by 5.5, or 4 1/4 by 5.5 for an A2 size card. And then I will adhere the background onto that sparkly paper. And whenever you adhere anything to sparkly paper, make sure that you're using very tacky tape. I like to use tear it tape, but you can also use like an ATG runner that you saw me use in the video here. And then once I get that adhered, I need to think about, this is beautiful. I want to add a sentiment though. So I go into my stash and I pull out this Blessings die cut from Whimsy Stamps, and I cut that in the sparkly paper because I think that'll be a nice touch so that you can see that against the, the sparkly paper on the back. But then I decide that a black strip of paper will be a little bit more bold, and then I think about it a little more, and honestly, instead of going outside the kit and using the die, I'm going to go outside the kit and use some of my clear stamps from Whimsy Stamps and line those up on my Misty, and then go ahead and emboss, because you get that Ranger white embossing powder in your kit, and it is fantastic for sentiments. So I'm going to use my Versamark ink and ink up that clear polymer stamp there, and then I will add the white embossing powder and go ahead and heat emboss. So whenever I do heat embossing, I do like to use an anti-static tool first, so that's what you saw me use prior to stamping, and then I like to use a sheet of paper to catch all of my embossing powder that I can add back to the jar. I also take a paintbrush and dab off some of the little pieces that get attached, and then I kind of just blow on it as well to get off any excess. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss with my heat tool. I love to watch the embossing powder turn from that grainy to the nice smooth that you can see on this little sentiment I stamped. And so from there, I am just going to add some of the embellishments that I have in my stash. These happen to be enamel dots from Whimsy Stamps, and I will put all of the links to all of the products that I used in the description box below, so you can click on any of those and find the products that I used. I hope you enjoyed today's card tutorial and that you'll join us again here at Melissa Made for more paper door kit projects, and also more projects from Whimsy Stamps and other great companies that I enjoy using products for. Have a great day.